नमस्ते जी नमस्ते. So there's a song in Hindi. ये क्या करें क्या ना करें ये कैसी मुश्किल और whatever, and that is pretty much what the core crux of the CRPC, and that is why we are studying the CRPC to begin with, so that we also know what to do and what not to do. Because as soon as there is an offense and as soon as there is police involved, well, the police also needs to know what they have to do. You also need to know what you have to do. We need to figure out which judge or magistrate we need to approach. What exactly is going to happen if you are being arrested? How is the arrest taking place? And what sort of an offense is it? Is it a complaint? Is it a FIR? What exactly is happening? Everything is given in the CRPC. And as students of law, and if you are interested in the judiciary, then to become judges, or to become rather magistrates, you need to know the procedural aspects. So substantive offenses are defined in the IPC, that is what is rape, murder, kidnapping, abduction. But how do we go about dealing with things? What is the system of what do we need to do as soon as something happens in the society? That is, I'm talking about the criminal side of things. So when you're fighting with your chacha mama taya over a property, not concerned with that in the CRPC. We're talking about offenses against society or public at large, right? So whenever there is an offense, so this is like a chessboard. Before starting here, let's just dive into here. And by the way, this is just a cursory macro look, and this is not comprehensive at all, by the way. So if you want to clear your judiciary exams, you need to master each and every aspect of this chessboard that is happening. Offense. Now offense has to be again subclassified from here. Complaint or FIR. Judge. So which judge or which court rather, I would say. Which magistrate, which class of magistrate, metropolitan magistrate, judicial magistrate of the first class, magistrate of the second class, or executive magistrate. पुलिस ऑफिसर क्या कर रहे हैं, कैसे करेंगे, आपको अरेस्ट कैसे लेके जाएंगे, क्या करेंगे बेसिकली. Then what about witness? What do we do with the witnesses? How does the court get them to court via summons or warrants? And how are those summons basically serviced? What are the conditions? What are the conditions for the warrants? That all is given in the CRPC. So 204 becomes very, very important. That is issue of process. Then arrest. What will the police do, and what are your rights? Then how do we issue summons, and what exactly are warrants? All of this is the introductory concepts of these, rather these are the introductory concepts of CRPC that you need to master as a student of law, as to be a good criminal lawyer in the future, or if you're targeting judiciary prelims, the primary target audience for this video. Okay, so I'm not going to go into the details, I'm just going to introduce these concepts to you, and then in further successive videos we're going to expand upon a few more things. So first and foremost, when we say an offense has happened, we need to look at it from 3 point of views. Whether it's a bailable offense or whether it's a non-bailable offense, given where first schedule, column 5, right? And chapter 33, bailable, other dal lijiye. There was a previous video of tricks to remember section 2. So that is section 2. Then we have clause A, right? So now the offense is bailable, non-bailable, and bail, by the way, is not defined anywhere in the code. That is also one more thing to factor in. Then is it cognizable or non-cognizable? Because we will be proceeding in the CRPC based on these funnels. So basically आप जैसी चीज़ें offense को आप सबसे पहले classify करेंगे, and then basically जो procedure है, procedure varies, and remember we are in the criminal procedure code, right? And it's a code, mind you. So it's not the Right to Information Act. So it's different. And what is the difference between a code and an act? We'll get to that in the next video, but I'm just trying to arouse an interest inside of you that please do think about these things, because once you start mentioning such stuff in your mains ka answer, you pretty much become better than the competition. And when you are better than the competition in a competitive exam, well, you win your seat. That's pretty much it. All right. So now it's cognizable, non-cognizable, 2 clause C. Then we have sections 154, 155, 156. You cannot talk about cognizable, non-cognizable without 154, 155, 156. And in case you're talking about arrest, then 41 and 42 come into play. Now, this again, please, if you're not in in a law school right now, then skip it because you'll need the bare act to even make sense of what I'm saying. Talking to those who pretty much at least have been introduced to these concepts. Okay, then what do we do? I mean, offense make or category, sorry, missed out. Compoundable and non-compoundable, that's section 320, right? And then the table is given. And then compoundable also has two subcategories, with the permission of the court and without the permission of the court. And what does compoundable really mean? I mean, can you like have a mutual agreement and just, let go of the offense, ho gayi ji, settlement ho gayi, and then the court has nothing to do and then the state will withdraw? Or the state will not decide to withdraw, even if it's a serious case. So all of that given under 320. Now then investigation kare, inquiry kare, trial kare, police inquiry kar rahi hai is pretty much a layman sentence, a very colloquial use of the term inquiry. But as per the CRPC, can the police really do an inquiry, or does the police do an investigation? And how is a trial different from an inquiry? All of these concepts also need to be clear, right? And then what sort of a case is it? Is it a warrants case or is it a summons case? So as I said in the previous video, section 2 clause X, Mr. X is bringing in the warrant from Resident Evil. That's a funny character there. And 2 clause W is summons cases, and then obviously you cannot talk about warrants cases and summons cases without talking about section 204, so it's always a red with there, right? Then we talk about कि जी हमें तो जी कोर्ट में जाएंगे, हम तो आपको कोर्ट लेकर जाएंगे, हम क्या करेंगे, this offense has happened, now I'll see you in court. Which court are we talking about exactly? So all of this is given in the CRPC as well. Are you talking about the Code of Sessions, or are you talking about the additional sessions judge? What exactly is the difference? Or are you talking about the assistant sessions judge? Or are you talking about the Chief Judicial Magistrate ka court? Or are you talking about the Chief Metropolitan Magistrate ka court? And based on the offense that you committed related to the punishment that has been given in the IPC, different courts become eligible to try out your offense. So the case will go either in these categories, or expanding more on courts, then are we talking about the judicial magistrate of the first class? Are we talking about the judicial magistrate of the second class? Or are we talking about the executive magistrate? Or are we talking, and how is that executive magistrate different from a judicial magistrate? और हमारे जो IAS वाले जो बंधु हैं जो district magistrate बनते हैं, what exactly is the difference here, right? All of that need to be, first and foremost, the concepts need to be grasped, and we'll be discussing a few more concepts in this lecture series. If you are preparing for judiciary prelims and mains, we have a dedicated online course for CRPC. You can consider that. The links are in the description. Then what happens is, we are talking about arrest कि आपको तो जी arrest करेंगे. Where is that given? Chapter 5 and Constitution में क्या है? Part 5 के भी Chapter 5 5 ही chapter हैं. So this is for your prelims. Again, you need to remember the Constitution like this, and that's how basically it always triggers. So I always speak out loud about Part 5, and then there are 5 chapters inside of the Constitution there. Then arrest कौन-कौन कर सकता है जी आपको? 3 लोग कर सकते हैं. Police officer, a private person. Is a private person a corporate? Is a private person, can it be a society? Is a private person, how is a private person different from a natural person, right? All of that again needs to be studied in. Magistrate साहब आपको arrest कर सकते हैं. Now which magistrate? Now remember, whenever it's a magistrate, unless and until it's specified, so here in 44 it's specified, it's either executive or judicial, so both have the power. But otherwise, if the term magistrate is used, then section 3 has to be referred to in the CRPC of trying to make sense of which magistrate are you talking about. So 3 sort of people can basically arrest you. That's the police officer, then the public prosecutor, no, that's a private person, no PP, and magistrate. Okay. Then we are coming to now arrest की बात तो हो गई. Police officer जी हमने तो कह दिया that yes you can be arrested, but can the police officer has any, basically are there any checks and balances on the powers of the police officer, because the police officer will just go around and basically being arrest anyone as per their whim and fancy, right? So as per their discretion. So we need to keep a check on them as well, but then we need to give them certain powers as well. Otherwise, so everyone will say, well, you don't have the power to arrest me, go away, right? And whether the arrest involves touching the person, All of these are crucial aspects that you need to master before taking your judiciary exam. Okay, 41 subsection 1 clause A. What happens when you commit a cognizable offense in the presence of a police officer? What do? Well, he can arrest you without a warrant from a magistrate, all right? And then 41 subsection 1 clause B के अंदर, now this is basically wherein the 2009 amendment की game starts, wherein a reasonable complaint, credible information or reasonable suspicion has been received, wherein you have committed an offense for which punishment is till 7 years, is basically 7 years or up to 7 years. And where is the 7-year etc. given? It's in the IPC, of course, right? So these three words are crucial. So when you start quoting such stuff in your mains answer and you use word to word stuff such as this, so instead of information you use credible information, instead of suspicion you use reasonable suspicion, your answers become much better in the eyes of the examiner, who's trying to examine you that whether you are fit to be a judge or not. And when they see that, well, you're sticking to the basics, well, you pretty much become better than your competition, and that will really, really help you out. Okay. Then we're talking about 41 subsection 1 clause B, subclause 2, then A to E, and then we have 4 judgments. Hamare Joginder Kumar, Anish Kumar, DK Basu, and then very recent 2018 ki Manav Adhikar related to arrest, in which now these clauses have been given, for which you need, basically it has been specified that all of these conditions exist for offenses that have been committed, jinki punishment is up to 7 years, and what the police officer needs to be satisfied with before making an arrest. All right. And let us say that the police officer receives information about an offense whose punishment is death or life imprisonment, and acha kya tha, reasonable complaint, credible information, या reasonable suspicion, he can arrest you without a warrant, right? If you're a proclaimed offender, again without a warrant. If you're possessor of a stolen property, let's say that someone is sitting at night with the torn off clothes and everything outside of a market holding an iPhone 11, let's say, and looks like a total druggie. Can the police arrest you without a warrant, or will you court? No, you can't arrest me without a warrant because it's not a cognizable offense that I've committed, or you start talking about your rights. Well, you can. That's pretty much it. So that's possessor of stolen property. That's under clause D. Clause E, if you're a deserter of the armed forces of the Union. And then there is G to I, which I'm not going to get into for our purposes. But in the case of a non-cognizable offense also, so we discussed cognizable, non-cognizable in a previous video in this very series on YouTube. 42 ke andar, even if it's a non-cognizable offense, and if you refuse to give your name and residence, and if the police officer suspects that the name, and let us say that even if you give your name and residence and the police officer suspects that this name and residence that has been given is false, they can still arrest you. So that's 42 for you. But then what if when you are arrested, what are your rights? Those have also been enumerated in the CRPC, all right? So right to travel to Goa. No, that's right to know the grounds of arrest. And remember, everything flows down from the Constitution. There is a line in the preamble, dignity of the individual. CRPC, in my understanding, that dignity of the individual, especially the chapter related to arrest, the judgments and the amendments, the grand norm, as per, if we use Kelson's terminology, is that very sentence, the dignity of the individual, right? So you have the right to know the ground of arrest. Why? मुझे बताओगे तो सही, because it's my dignity. You assured me the dignity that I'll have my dignity, so I also need to know why are you picking me up, for what have I done. You need to specify each and everything, all right? So right to know grounds of arrest, that's Article 22 clause 1, and then 50, 55, 75. And what you can do to extract out maximum benefit from this video is read all the sections that have been given here, at least from the BEAR Act once. I believe it will be of immense help to you, right? It can actually start to make you think in the correct direction, all right? So 50, 55, and 75, then right to be informed of the right to bail, right? So that is 50 subsection 2, Right to be produced before magistrate without delay, that is Article 22, Clause 2, and 57, 76, and 167. Now 167 is pretty much the Pitaji of CRPC. 167 is the core crux out of which the entire CRPC stems out from, in my own understanding. So 167 is one hell of a section. So 167 को 3 बार पढ़िए, 5 बार पढ़िए, 7 बार पढ़िए, and then try to connect it with all, because 167 uses pretty much everything up till that point that has been explained to you in the CRPC. Becomes one of the most important sections. And then right to consult a legal practitioner, I'll just move here. That is Article 22 subclause 1, 41D and 303. वही वकील साहब आप अपनी choice का कर सकते हैं. But can you, like for example, let us say that you are in the prosecution. Obviously you cannot be in the prosecution, the state has to be in the prosecution. But you want that your lawyer be there instead of the public prosecutor. Can you do that? Curious sawal. Can you do that? Look up somewhere between section 20 to section 30, that is the answer, right? And try to think also from the criminal point of view, criminal as in the criminal jurisprudence and the system, criminal systems point of view, as to why you can't pretty much do that or you can do that. I'll just confuse you for a bit and then get to the answer later, right? And can you do that even if it's allowed? Then can you do that? Can you hire your own lawyer and put it in the prosecution? I'll make sure that he's in jail and make sure that he's convicted. Can you do that without the permission of the court or with the permission of the court? Right? Okay. Then we come to right to get examined by the medical practitioner. So that's not member of parliament, because as soon as you see MP, either it's Madhya Pradesh or member of parliament. So that's 53 and 54, right? So arrest तो अब हमने कर लिया, लेकिन let us say that we don't arrest you, but we want to secure your presence. That's the object of arrest, by the way. And what is the difference between arrest and detention? Like for example, at a protest, let's say the police gets you bus में उठा के भेज देती है out of the protest, or मतलब side में they drop you outside of the city. Was that an arrest or was that a detention? Right? Stuff such as this needs to be conceptually cleared. Then we go to chapter 6, that is process to compel appearance, and one of those ways is summons, that is from 61 to 69. Very interesting topic. And then summon कैसे होना चाहिए जी? Summon आप समझ लीजिए कि has to be in writing, has to be in duplicate, should bear the seal of the court, that is 61 that I'm talking about. The form of the summon, the way that you serve it, how do you serve it to society or a corporate body, and then how do you serve it to a person who is not found at the location or at their address, and then adult male member of the family needs to be handed the summon to in case the summoned is not there. That is what the correct term for a person who has served a summon is. And then is the servant included in the definition of the family? Okay. Need to examine 61 to 69. All answers will be there. And pretty much, yeah, that's pretty much it. And in the case of the, if you are in active service of the government, then how do you get the summon? Is the head of the department involved to grant you the summon? And who can serve a summon? Can it be a police officer? Can it be done by a government servant? Can it be done by a private person? Right? Everything is given from 61 to 69. So all of these things need to be on your tips, by the way. All right. Then we go to 91 to 97, which is production of things or documents. That is also being called to court by a summon. Now, is a summon defined anywhere in the court? So a summon's case is defined, but is the term summon defined anywhere in the court? No. Summon pretty much is an authoritative call by the court. It's basically a process of the court कि आप आइए, we are going to try you out. Acha, not even try you out, but you have to aid in this case. Does not necessarily try you out because it's the production of things, and how exactly are we trying you out? All right, so that's the way to first and foremost to build up a base of the CRPC. And if none of this is clear, you cannot proceed on to the higher stages, I would say, of writing a mains ka answer for the CRPC. This has to be clear and this has to be on your tips. All right, so we'll just be putting out further lectures on the CRPC on the channel itself. You can follow that, or you can consider joining the course any which way. And can this be done on your own? Yes. Without any coaching or buying out any material, yes. Except you'll have to use two books. One is Kelkar, the other is again Kelkar here, but it's Criminal Law Lectures. Both fantastic books, absolutely wonderful. The links are in the description. Do check them out, and if you watched the video till now, that is. Alright, take care, bye.